Believe it or not, we're still talking about the reviewing and organizing stage of an edit. If you need to, go back in the notes and review the stages of editing. We'll actually finish them up in this lecture. But I spend so much time on reviewing and organizing because you can't not prepare enough for anything that you do in production. Preparation is always so critical. And you really also need to know your footage, which is why I spent so much time talking about raster size, interlace versus progressive, video codecs, formats. These are all things that you need to know going into it as an editor. But then also during the reviewing and organizing, you're going to be going through and you're going to need just to watch it. Cannot stress this one enough that so many beginning editors they just kind of they don't watch their footage from beginning to end, but you need to watch it from frame one to frame done because you never know what's going to be missing. And as an editor, even if you're on the shoot, you need to be there as an editor. You need to be present and watch every frame there because something will stand out that you didn't know or you didn't notice when you're on the set. So even though it seems like, oh, I got 6 hours of footage, well, guess what? You need to spend 6 hours watching it, or more. And then once you watch it and review it, you need to take notes. And I can't spell. You need to take notes and take notes upon notes. And then you're going to want to catalog your footage, and you may start organizing it. You'll later on we'll talk a bit more about this, but you'll create bins with just audio. You have bins for your video. You have bins for graphics. You have bins for organizes. You can't organize too much really, so long as you create a system that you will understand where to find the information when you go to look for it. But you need to watch it, you need to get familiar with it, and then you need to organize it in such a way that you'll be able to find what you're looking for. So, finish with reviewing and organizing. And believe me, you want to spend time with this if you want to deliver a good product. After you do this, though, you go into what's called the assemble edit. The assemble edit is the part where all the major pieces of the project are placed into a logical sequence of picture and sound elements. This will be the longest and roughest looking version of the edit. So what you're going to go through that, all your notes, and you're going to go through all your bins that you've put everything organized, and you're just going to make a really chunky version of it. It's gonna not look good, but you'll see where you're going. So you're just getting the first of the stuff on that timeline, on that edit piece. After you do the assemble edit, and to be honest, I never show the assemble edit to even a client because they'll think I'm an idiot. Because they're like, "What? This doesn't make sense. This isn't here." You're just getting it out. Assemble edit is just get everything there, ready to go. Sort of, you're taking, the assemble edit really is taking you know, three big lumps of clay and putting them all together onto the spinning wheel, and then the rough cut is where you start spinning it and forming it and shaping it. Rough cut is where a lot of the excess footage has been cut away. The timing, things are timed up better. Still may not be perfect, but it's better. Final titles and graphics might not be in place, but is looking a lot closer to the final version. And this is the way you start showing it to clients. The rough cut is where you start showing it to people and clients to get their opinions. Like, hey, is this headed the right direction? Do you think this is good? I know it's not perfect, but what would you improve if you were doing the cutting? Things like that. After this, you get the final cut, where things are being cut down even more. Um, this is where you have worked the edit into its final version. There are going to be no other cuts. You are very happy with it, and the client is happy. However, after final cut, or picture lock is another term for it, you are not quite done. It then goes to sound design. So you could be the sound designer, or you maybe send it to a effects house. You hire somebody, but like any sound effects, music, ADR, which is the term for voiceover, dubbing. This is where all that work gets done. So you get the picture cut, and you're not done with it yet. You still need to add your sound to it. You may have had temp sound effects, and temp music, but really your final sound design is one of the last things that you do on it because it's much easier. It's difficult to have a complex sound design while you're editing because then you're constantly remapping your audio. So you're better off just cutting the picture with minimal sound design, and then once the picture is set, that fine cut is set, it's locked. That's why it's called picture lock. Then you can go into it and really fine tune that audio. Also, this last stage, you do color correction. The last go over the footage to make sure that all the images match and the color is good. I'll include another video for you guys to watch on color correction. Um, and you already saw a little bit of it in the the lighting videos I posted for you guys to watch as well. But color correction, I sometimes call color correction, the dark arts, because it's the people that are really good color correctors can do amazing work and can really save an image. But this is where you can kind of solidify the final overall look of the video. Um, in particular, you may need to pay attention, and then part of the reason or things you need to be looking into in color correction that you need to be focused on um, are concepts of chrominance and luminance. If you're the color corrector, you'll be talking a lot about this. If you're hiring a color corrector to come in working for you, you'll definitely be talking with them about this. What are they, real quick? Chroma or chrominance is the color information in the image. It's just how red do you want it? How blue do you want it? How is there, is that sky not quite the right shade of blue that you're looking for? Luma is the brightness and contrast of the image. So it's like, can you make the image look a little brighter? Can you make the image look a little bit darker? And contrast is, king when it comes to a lot of these things. Because contrast, as we talked about in the previous videos, when we talk about lighting and camera, is the relative balance between bright to dark in an image. While luma is the overall brightness, contrast is the ratio of brightness to darkness in an image. And you need to pay attention to your brightness and your contrast. If something is too bright, you're not going to have very good contrast because the white brightness will outweigh any dark in an image. However, if your contrast is pushed to extreme, things aren't going to look natural. Shadows get way too dark, and you won't be having any details. So you want to it's contrast and brightness are two things you'll be playing with quite a bit. Of the two, between chroma and luminance, luminance is the most important because contrast, from what we talked about and looked at in the videos on lighting before, contrast is king. Contrast is how we see an image. You can completely take away all the color information and still see an image. It's called black and white TV, black and white movies. Black and white movies have no chrominance. It's just light and shadow. So between the two, if you take away all the color in a shot, you can still see it. If you take away all the brightness and contrast in an image, you get nothing. So contrast or luminance is key. Luminance is the most important. Finally, your project is done, you have delivery. The project is exported and delivered to the client in whatever medium. So going back to what we're talking about organizing, you're looking at formats. So hopefully, ideally, you edit it in a format higher resolution or at least equal to wherever you're going to be delivering your video. And that is the life cycle of an edit.